Okay, so welcome back. I'm glad you've joined us or decided to join us. What we're going to talk about today is 3 simple tricks using Mevo. Using the Mevo system. Using Mevo Start. Using 3 simple tricks using the Mevo Start system. Okay, so the Mevo Start system, and I've talked about this, is great because it gives you multiple camera angles super easily. I have espoused, that's a big word, this system because if you don't care so much about the quality, then you can get a super simple show off the ground in literally minutes. No cables, no muss, not a whole lot of fuss. There are a few caveats and limitations.
There are a few provisos, a couple of quid pro quo.
I had to redo this video because Mevo released the Mevo Core, and that's a box style camera that has much better quality than the original Mevo Start cameras. So that does change the game a little bit. I'm going to talk about that more when I'm done with this. So the Mevo Start cameras are stationary cameras. Even the Core, the new one, is stationary. So if you're recording a stream and a stream gets complicated, you might be a little apprehensive about the angles and the abilities to catch everything, but fear not. Here is our tips. Tip number 1, use a pan module. So this little guy can follow a speaker around the room, which gives you a lot of confidence in ensuring that you're getting a good camera angle or a cam. Most of the work is done by motion sensors. Some have cameras, some have AI, some are super simple, but having one in general will make your production better. Since the Mevo cameras and even the Core are still pretty much stationary cameras, this definitely makes a difference in control, and some pan modules have remotes, so you can do it yourself if you need to. The second tip is to use lights, because cameras are basically webcams. The more light you have, the better your production will look. Webcams are basically tiny censored cameras. The more light you have in, the better they will look. You're not going to get a webcam to look like a mirrorless or a DSLR or something professional, but it can get decently close if you have a good picture. So if you've got a lot of lighting, you'll be able to give yourself a great looking setup. If you have a show to set up on the fly, and why not, since I mentioned how easy it can be, this can be a little difficult, but realize that, if you spend less time setting up your cameras, you've got more time to set up lights. So don't be lazy. Okay, that's the rule. Don't be lazy. Movies have teams of lighting people, grips and gaffers and all sorts of stuff. So having a set of lights on your talent makes a huge difference. Having light on your video in general is massive. So make sure that you're paying attention to what your lights look like and your lighting setup. Number 3 is the audio. Use a lav mic. Use a lav mic. Use a lav microphone. Now, all of the Mevo cameras have a port for microphones. Lav microphones are not that expensive. Because lav microphones are mounted on the subjects themselves, they don't need to be really great microphones. It's better if you have a better microphone, but they don't need to be stupendous microphones. They're just close to the action, and that's what they capture. They make your production sound better because they're on your subject itself, and you're not far away getting weird audio that sounds terrible. So, those 3 tips. Number 1, use a pan module if you need to get a better camera angle. Number 2, use lighting on your subject. And number 3, use a lav mic. Or a mixer. You could also use a mixer. You could use a mixer with a variety of microphones, say an overhead mic, say a lav mic, and then kind of mix that. Hey, that's up to you if you want to get that crazy and complicated with it. The Mevo has ports on it for putting things into it. Put things into your Mevo. Okay, so now that we've discussed this, we can move on to the Mevo Core. Now, this looks like a great new camera. I haven't gotten my hands on one yet, but it's just released, so I had to redo this video because I had all this stuff done before the Mevo came out, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I think the Mevo Core is a great step because it gives a better picture with the Mevo system. That is awesome. However, I'm a little disappointed they didn't release something PTZ like, say, the OBSBot. And the reason I'll explain is this. Better quality is always welcome. It's going to enhance your production, but if you're a solo shooter, a PTZ is going to help you out a lot more. Now you can get the pan modules like I mentioned, but that's still not going to really necessarily make a difference if you want to control the PTZ and you're shooting everything by yourself. So, you know, I think that coming out with a PTZ module pretty soon would be the smartest solution for Mevo, but we'll see as they get there. For right now, the core is a great step up. Better quality, you can use a core, 2 cores as your A and B cams, and then a couple smarts as your C and D cams, and then you don't need that $50 Blackmagic killer that I talked about in my clickbait video. Whatever you're doing, just go and shoot it, go and stream. I think the Mevo core is a step in the right direction, but utilize all those tips that I gave you, because you can get the Mevo Start cameras for $250 a piece, and that'll get you going in the world of streaming and streaming video, and it makes it a whole lot easier to get going that way. Because lav microphones are mounted on the subject themselves, because